Gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the programmer of the Nocturnal Dream Show, one time the Cockettes manager, and the director of Trisha's wedding, Sebastian.
Hello. It was half a century ago. Can you believe that? A half a century. It's a little more impressive than 50 years, but it's one for the history books. Then a bunch of kids jumped up on stage, danced around, showing off their talent. Gore Vidal notwithstanding. And it was a magic night when they first appeared, and here they are 50 years later. Historical, but then they were hysterical. During that time, during that summer of 1970, I ran across a film called Multiple Maniacs. And it featured Divine, who I think you all remember, a living legend in her time, his time. I wasn't familiar with the filmmaker of that film, but since I saw all of his films, I've read all of his books, I'm a huge fan, and I give you John Waters.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, 50 years ago, the Cockettes, you know, they maybe were only together for 3 years. How could that be possible? 3 years when we were young seemed like eternity, and 3 years now seems like it's a second. The Cockettes, like nobody else in show business history, American culture was never the same afterwards. I moved to San Francisco in 1970, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know who the Cockettes were. I wanted my gutter film, Mondo Trasho, to be shown. But thank you. I read about the Palace and about the nocturnal dream shows, and I thought, wow, underground movies and Busby Berkeley musicals, drag shows, and the Cockettes, who in the hell were they? And I went to the show. But before the show even started, I was so amazed at the audience, which was as shocking as the show. Hippie gay guys, finally, you know? It was so great to see them, you know, and drag queens with beards reading Lenin that thought the revolution really was going to happen. I knew it wasn't, but I liked watching. These drag queens didn't want to be Miss America or Bess Meyerson. They wanted to be Janis Joplin with a dick. And girl Cockettes, so great. Ruby Keelers on acid. Female impersonators with full pussy power. I was in cinema heaven. You know, people think the Cockettes were non-commercial, but when I finally played the Palace, as Judy Garland used to sing, I made some money, and it helped pay back my dad, who backed these movies, and attracted future pot dealer financial backers. And Sebastian, I really salute you. I really, really do, because this so-called show business man behind the Palace shows, if you could call that showbiz, a $2 admission and half the audience sneaking in for free. But I did, and it was. And I wouldn't be here today without Sebastian's help when I first got here. And he had the secret cinema that many people have forgotten, which was another showcase, probably completely illegal theater in an old loft that showed crackpot double bills every day for the cinema insane. He's the one who booked Mondo Trasho and Multiple Maniacs. He's the one. who paid for Divine to fly out in full drag on an airplane to appear at the palace. The day the Cockettes all met Divine at the airport in full drag. Can you imagine that today? Is it Liberace the flight attendants were screaming? Imagine today if hundreds of drag queens showed up at the airport. It would be a terrorist alert. We would be locked up in a second. The Cockettes gave Divine confidence. 24/7, Divine could be Divine. He never went back. Then Mink Stoll came, and Van Smith. Everybody followed. And we were very different than the Cockettes. The Cockettes were hippies. I thought up Divine to scare hippies, really, you know? Divine was hardly a hippie. He wanted to be Liz Taylor and Godzilla in one person. We were yippies and zippies. Divine and I used to dump sugar and meat on other commune steps as a kind of a comical publicity stunt, you know? But the Cockettes loved us back with their approval anyway. None of us knew it, but punk was next in line, and we all saw it coming. We were political, and so were the Cockettes, and we influenced each other. I had made the Diane Linkletter story about Diane's daughter. She wasn't on acid when she jumped out of the window. And then Sebastian made Trisha's wedding with the Cockettes, that premiered the exact same time and date as Nixon's daughter's real wedding, you know? And where is the next group of theater radicals today? Where are the Mockettes, the Angels of Blight? Why aren't they making the pussy-grabbing Trump Christmas show? You know, what a world it was back then. The old stud on Folsom Street. Oh, Sweet Pam and Scrumbley and Tahara and Fiat. And oh, God, Goldie glitters. You can't imagine. And Link, I was even scared of him. And then Marshall, the only straight male Cockette. I bet he was busy. And also the outer layer of the Cockette scene. The men who are crazy and sexy and love the Cockettes too. Like Grasshopper, my friend that taught me when you shoplift, set little Kleenex fires in the department store. It distracts them. And Tom Tadlock, the handsome man who wanted to hook you up to electrodes and have sex. Oh, and at the center of all this, the beautiful Sylvester, the Lena Horne of the Cockettes. And let's not forget drugs. Oh, let's leave out drugs. The Cockettes were more than that, I read recently. You gotta be kidding. Not mentioning the drugs when you talk about Cockettes is like talking about New Year's Eve without liquor. We were all on drugs, and it was fun. So much fun that Mink Stoll and I celebrated our 50th anniversary of knowing each other by taking LSD again last year. Not those pussy microdoses you all take. This was 12 hours of hallucinations. My mom says, don't tell young people to take drugs. I'm not. I'm telling old people to. If you took LSD back in the old days when you were watching the Cockettes and liked it, do it again. They can't say you're having a senior moment. You're tripping. Gore Vidal was wrong when he snarkily quipped after seeing the disastrous New York premiere of the Cockettes, no talent is not enough. But he was wrong, very wrong. No talent is enough. If You ignore the talent part and replace this outdated concept with insanity and cannonball your ass first without a safety net into the whirlpool of theatrical anarchy. That's beyond talent, over the top of nerve and beneath the valley of sexual beauty. The Cockettes have withstood the test of time. Their legend is cemented in America's lunatic history. We all deserve ATD. Cockettes then, Cockettes now, and Cockettes forever. Thank you.
John Waters, ladies and gentlemen.